Welcome to the show. I'm Dan Thomas, joined today by Stevie Nicol, Ali Moreno, Craig Burley, and of course Gaal Marcotti is here to give us all the latest on this story that's been developing over the last 24 hours. Pedro to Chelsea, Gab. How did that happen?
You know, everybody's kind of wondering that because, let's backtrack a little. Pedro had not quite a release clause, but he had a preset price at which he could leave. It's a result of a gentleman's agreement with the club when he extended his contract last time, and United were ready to meet it. It was £22 million, around about $29 million. Ed Woodward, the United's chief executive, was in Barcelona on Monday, ostensibly to tie up the deal. And then something happened. What we do know is United backed out, Chelsea stepped in, and as of right now, even though the deal's not done, he's on his way to Chelsea. The big question is, why did United buy out? From Barcelona, the suggestion is it's a disagreement over the terms of the payment, but not over the fee itself. From United, it was suggested quite strongly that it was Louis van Gaal who did a 180-degree turn and decided that he no longer wanted Pedro. Now, I should say that this doesn't come directly from van Gaal. It's something that United as a club have suggested.
What do you make of this, Craig?
Seems there's more, well, first and foremost, it seems there's more Pinocchios at Manchester United at the moment than any other club in Europe, because one's saying one thing, one's saying another. We've got players saying, I wanted to play. We've got a manager saying he's doing this. We've got Ed Woodward in Barcelona.
Well, he was there for the restaurants, the scenery, beautiful time.
Well, it's a lovely town. Anyway, he came back with a bag, but Pedro wasn't in it. I don't care where he goes. I just want to see Pedro playing again. It's a risk for him if he goes to Chelsea because of Willian and Oscar. 2 years ago at Barcelona, he got quite a lot of game time, not so much last year. This guy just needs to get playing again, and my one concern, if it is Chelsea, is that that's the tougher of the two teams to get into.
Does he walk into the starting 11 or not, Ali?
I don't know that he walks into the starting 11, but I think he does have an opportunity to play. I think he fills a role that perhaps Juan Cuadrado was supposed to fill, and he was not able to do so. He hasn't been able to impress, and I think he gives Chelsea a different look down the right-hand side, perhaps somebody with a change of pace, much better in one-on-one situations that, say, a William would be. Maybe, just maybe, that allows him to get some continuity at Chelsea. What is true is that he was not going to play at all in Barcelona. He might have had a better chance of playing at Manchester United, but I still think he will get an opportunity at Chelsea.
I don't see it. I don't see how he starts. I mean, if you look at the recent Chelsea history with Mourinho, he buys players, and if they don't quickly prove themselves, he lets them go. You got Shirley, you got De Bruyne, you got Mohamed Salah, all who could have played on that right-hand side. He got rid of them. Even Willian, he had to spend 6 months coming off the bench. So how does Pedro think he's going to walk into Chelsea and start? I just don't see it happening.
Is this a panic buy?
I don't think they're panicking. But by all accounts from one person back in London, one journalist, he wasn't on a list of Mourinho's targets early in the season when he went to Abramovich and said, I want X, Y and Z, can you get these for me? I think clearly those targets weren't met, and that frustration has come through from Mourinho. It's come through in the performances, and for some reason or another, they've changed tact and they've gone for Pedro. Look, he's not a bad player, is he? But effectively, as Stevie mentioned, the competition there is going to be good for him. And as for Manchester United, well, only Van Gaal and Woodward can answer the question why they didn't go through with signing this player, because it wasn't a lot of money for United. It's not a lot of money at all.
Well, this is it, Gab, isn't it? It's interesting you take a look at the subplots going into this transfer, which of course will be exposed over the next few days, you imagine. People are reporting that Cesc Fabregas and his wife were an integral part in getting Pedro over, that Victor Valdez said, don't come to Old Trafford, whatever you do. And as you mentioned before, you've got Louis van Gaal, who is very much taking the brunt of the criticism from Manchester United fans who wanted Pedro there.
You're right. There's a million subplots. I think we have to be careful and operate based on what we know now. Now, I'm sure Cesc Fabregas lobbied for Pedro to come to Chelsea, and I'm sure if he rang up Victor Valdez, says, hey, you know what, you really don't want to be here. By the same token, there's other guys like Mata and Ander Herrera who of course, Pedro would know, who might have said, hey, you know, this isn't a bad place to be. So what I think is most significant and most interesting is going to be when Louis van Gaal comes out and explains the situation, because that's the first question I would ask him. I'd be like, hey, Is Pedro really not here because you changed your mind about him after Ed Woodward flew all the way to Barcelona? Because that's what's being put about. And I would expect Van Gaal to come out and say, no, of course not, because it would be crazy if that was in fact the case. Remember, at this stage, we also don't know. There's no suggestion whatsoever that it's Pedro saying, no, I no longer want to go to United. The information we have as of right now is that United weren't able to agree, not the size of the fee, but the terms of the payment with Barcelona, and that cleared the way for Chelsea. It's not Pedro saying no to United. Again, based on the information we have right now.
Well, this is a change in direction for United. OK, the management has changed and the chief executive has changed from David Gaal. But United, in terms of pursuing transfers, have always been aggressive, really aggressive. If you look at Dimitar Berbatov, when he was leaving to go to Manchester City, he was actually going for a City medical. He was hijacked by Ferguson and David Gaal. Coming into Manchester, they signed him. Exactly the same with Robin van Persie when he was leaving Arsenal. All the talk was he was going to Man City for the big bucks and the huge wages. They hijacked that and they got that transfer done. It seems at the moment this particular duo of Woodward and Van Gaal are rather dilly-dallying, or they're just not prepared to go on that aggressive approach.
And now, Gav, the name being linked to United is Sadio Mane from Southampton.
Yeah, that's the name that popped up in the media. I should stress, Southampton deny this, both privately and publicly. Ronald Koeman came out and said, you know, if there was a bid for this guy, it's news to me. So Mane, obviously a great player, and probably would be a good fit at United, but there has been no bid as of right now, according to Southampton.
Would that be the signing? Would that be?
Well, this is really strange, guys. This is Van Gaal. Van Gaal said this is going to be his last job, right? Now, you'd think he's up there, turning Mr. Woodward upside down and shaking every last dollar out of his pocket to go and get the best players he can, because his reputation is resting on this. He's not going to get another chance to go somewhere else, so he has to get the job done at United and be successful, and it's a big rebuild. And these are okay players, but they're not going to take him to the next level.
So it's definitely a battle of between him and the board. That's what it is. And because it's his last job and he's saying that, he's probably not scared to say what he wants, which he isn't.
And he's not getting
And they're trying to push back. And what the outcome is going to be is the team on the field is the one that's going to suffer, and the fans are going to suffer. Because this is a side that not only is expected to be in the top 4 this year, they're expected to be challenging for the Premier League title. That isn't happening unless they, in the next couple of weeks, sign some good players.
While we're talking about Pedro and Mane, meanwhile, you still have Daley Blind play centre back for Manchester United, and yet that becomes an area for me that is an area of need, of immediate need, and doesn't seem to be addressed right now. Whether it's Van Gaal, whether it's Ed Woodward, Manchester United as a whole doesn't seem to be making the decisions that matter at this very moment.
And the only striker they've got, Ali, is Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
Who's not started the season particularly well, and all the talk's been like
shot at goal. Is he the shot at goal?
I mean, I don't know. Van Gaal, we don't know this, but he has to be headbutting the wall in his house, because he must have thought...
That's a big head too,
That's a big
old head. He must have thought they were going to go out and try and get the best. I mean, all the talk was Ramos in the summer. We've heard that Thomas Muller's going to be coming from Bayern Munich. I just cannot buy that whatsoever. So they're going to get left behind. Need a centre-half. The goalkeeper still might go. They've only got one recognised striker, and they were fighting over a guy who was effectively on the bench for Barcelona, who now looks like he's going to Chelsea. It just isn't going well for them.
Gab, I know you've been trying to get in.
No, I just want to say, Stevie alluded there, is there tension between Van Gaal and the board. I have to say, I thought it was absolutely extraordinary that they would put out the notion that Van Gaal changed his mind rather than we as a club pulled out. Even if it's not true, you would expect to see some level of unity where you say, no, not for us, we're pulling out. I thought it was extremely significant that they went and they said, no, it's not us, it's Louis. And we still don't know if that's true and how Louis is going to react at his next press conference.
All right, shall we start the Pep to Man United rumours?
Let's talk about Pep's former club, Barcelona, now, who are left with that Pedro-sized hole within their squad, Gab, and you've been quite forthright in your opinion over on ESPN FC.com, saying this is a big mistake from Barca.
Yeah, I mean, look, the mistake isn't now because he had that agreement in place, and it was an agreement that came about when he extended his contract a while back. But what's extraordinary is they knew that the transfer ban was coming in when they extended his deal, and it's almost like they just didn't think that he might be tempted to go. When you look at this, if something catastrophic happens, if you lose one, let alone two of your strikers, you're looking now at guys like Munir, like Sandro, like Dongu, who played for Barcelona B last year. All these guys spent most of the season at Barcelona B. They're all promising, but guys, Barcelona B finished bottom of the Spanish second division last season. That's a big, big ask to ask one, let alone two of these guys to go and step in. So I think this is really bad planning. And you think of guys like Deulofeu, who maybe wasn't outstanding, but who they sold in the summer, who they might have hung on to. It could have been a slightly more experienced guy in the mix. And it does seem quite extraordinary.
It's the opening weekend of La Liga, of course. Barcelona taking on Athletic Bilbao. The team's meeting up for the third time in a week. How much of a blow is this, losing Pedro, do you think?
Well, I think Gaal alluded to it and mentioned the fact that now you're depending on Munir El Haddadi and Sandro to fulfill their potential. And while these players seem to be going in the right direction and trending in the right direction, it's a big question if, say, for example, Neymar is not up to par, if Luis Suarez gets injured, if for whatever reason Lionel Messi has to miss out on some time. Now, yes, do you look out on that left-hand side and you see Munir El Haddadi rather than Pedro, you think to yourself, well, it's not quite the same player. Not just yet. Pedro, let's not forget, scored 99 goals for Barcelona. So when you think about a player in Pedro, you think about a player that has had a significant role within the club and within the organization. So Sandro and Munir El Haddadi may become something, a much better player in the future, but not right now.
Hold on a second. This is a guy that doesn't normally play we're talking about here. How big a blow? How big a blow is this to Barcelona? It's not like Messi's not going to play. The guy comes off the bench.
If somebody gets injured,
Neymar's got the mumps at the moment.
No, I understand.
Neymar's got mumps, Stevie.
I just think we need to calm down. It's like,
Dr. Nicol, Neymar's got mumps. Dr.
Pedro's gone.
Exactly.
Oh no, the whole place is going to crumble.
So if you were Luis Enrique, you'd be happy to say goodbye to Pedro.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need to calm down. This is a guy who came off the bench. Stevie, pretty much his career. You look at his numbers last year and the year before, the 30s and 28 and 29 games. Half of them are coming off the bench, and half of them he started. He got taken off.
But gives you an option. Gives you an option, which now you don't have.
I get that, but calm down. Come on.
But Stevie, I likened it to buying insurance, right? Most likely you're not going to need it because those three guys will be fit and you'll get by with Rafinha maybe moving into the front three or whatever. But the point is, if something does go catastrophically bad, if Suarez gets suspended and Neymar gets the mumps again, then you're in a very, very difficult situation. And in the Champions League, especially, you don't know what's going to come out of the draw this time around, especially with the new rules in place. You get a couple of bad results, a bad refereeing call, it could be utterly disastrous. And what's frustrating is it didn't need to be this way.
Oh, as if Suarez is going to get suspended.
When has that happened?
You're just reaching there.
I love when you get animated because it means your hands come off your knees.
Of course, Gerard Piqué. Scotland, shall we? Champions League playoffs taking place, of course, over the next couple of weeks. Celtic taking on Malmo 3 minutes in. It's Celtic who take the lead.
Well, this is a lovely first-time ball from Johansson to Griffiths. Sorts his feet out, a couple of little touches, and then rolls it into the net.
A dream start for the Scottish champions. 2-0 after 10 minutes.
Nobody challenging near Byton as he gets up for the header inside the 6-yard box. Goalkeeper doesn't come out. 2-0 Celtic.
However, 7 minutes into the second half, your former team, Craig, concede a goal.
Yep, from a former player, John Geberge, back post. Nice control, lots to do from that angle, but snuggles it nicely into the corner.
However, 10 minutes later, the 2-goal advantage is restored.
Well, not the greatest piece of defending. Ball's headed straight into the air, and Lee Griffiths, who gets a run at it, somehow gets it in off the post past the keeper.
But then in the 95th minute, how key could this goal prove to be for Malmo?
And once again, Berge on the turn of the rebound and the corner kick late in the match, 95th minute. Thank you very much. And Malmo, they're looking good going home.
Didn't mind celebrating, did he? Against his former club. Not one of them. Celtic 3 then, Malmo 2. Meanwhile, let's head to Spain. Certainly the most eye-catching of games on paper saw Valencia take on Monaco at Mestalla. 4 minutes into this one, it would be the hosts who would take the lead through Rodrigo.
Well, this is a ball. It's just headed across the 6-yard area. Take your pick. 2 Valencia players, and Rodrigo puts it in.
How good is this save from Ryan to keep it 1-0?
Strong right hand, gets it to the post. Beautiful save. Good work.
However, he could do nothing 4 minutes into the second half as Monaco would make it 1-1.
Martial with a great run. Down in the wide position, good ball in, nice finish. This was definitely the pick of the ties between these two teams.
10 minutes later, though, Valencia back in the lead thanks to Dani Parejo.
Well, he gets a little fortunate here. It's not the most powerful shot I've ever seen, but it takes a little nick off the defender just there. Goalkeeper dives under the ball.
And Valencia would win the game by 3-1. Sofiane Fehuli with the late goal.
Well taken by Sofiane Fehuli as the ball bounces to him up the short hub, keeps his body on top of the ball, finds that far post. Good result for Valencia, and Monaco with a whole lot of work to do going home.
Indeed, a very good result. Valencia 3 then. Monaco 1 is how it finished. But without a doubt, the goal of the day happened in Albania. Skedinburg taking on Zagreb. Take a look at this effort from Pirovic from long range. Fantastic finish.
Oh,
look at that.
Have some of that.
Who smashed that down?
Pirovic.
Perez. Well, he did smash it. Cuts off into his right-hand side. Wow,
A
top
beautiful
corner.
finish
Thanks for coming.
to give Zagreb a 2-1 victory. Elsewhere today, it was 2-2 between Basel and Tel Aviv. You can see there it was Skedinburg 1, Dinamo Zagreb 2. Elsewhere, it was Rapid Vienna 0, Shakhtar Donetsk 1. Not long left then until it goes into hibernation. The Gabometer, though, we will be using over the next couple of weeks as those transfer rumours continue. Gab, let's start off with Kevin De Bruyne to leave Wolfsburg.
This getting some more impetus. German papers reporting on Thursday, that is tomorrow, that he's going to tell the club that he wants to go. Agent also playing it up. I'm going 6.
OK, let's move on to another one that's been doing the rounds. John Stones to Chelsea.
Chelsea do not want to push up and meet a £40 million valuation from Everton. I think they still feel that at the right price they can get him, and they still feel that Everton might figure that, you know what, let's not pass up 30 million or 35 million or whatever Chelsea get to. So slightly more optimistic. I'm going to say 6.
Oh, not that optimistic. Mario Balotelli to Watford, Gab.
No confirmation anywhere from Watford. They've got enough strikers in Igalo and Dini and Diamanti coming in. Also, he's really not a Watford type guy. I don't know if this story comes from the Liverpool end, but this is a flat 1. No chance.
1. Oh dear. Craig,
What's a Watford type guy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Craig,
I used to live near Watford. Is that what you mean?
Why'd you give it 1 anyway? You'd be really saying it's not happening.
I don't think North's on the scale. Would you take a gamble on Mario Balotelli?
No.
Here we go.
If I was Watford? Yes.
Why? Any particular reason?
And the hope that at some point,
wins.
you could fire this guy back to life.
Would you take a gamble?
Not a chance. Not a chance. If I had all the money in the world and I had a club, I was the owner, I would stay as far away as I could from Mario Balotelli.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Okay, finally, Gab, let's go to your favourite one, shall we? Thomas Muller to Manchester United.
Again! Again, you do this to me. I said 1 is the lowest, no chance. I have to invent a lower one for this. I'll say 0. Negative, the square root of -4. Whatever. No chance.
Craig, you think this might happen?
I don't. He's got to be bonkers to leave Bayern Munich to go to that side at the moment. The way he's playing.
Yeah. I've
See the
had
goal he scored?
I've had far too much success here. I think I'll go somewhere else.
So we don't think it's happening?
Thomas Muller looks like a Watford type of guy.
Oh, Watford, yeah. Thomas Muller to Watford. Gaal Marcotti, tell us why we should be excited about the start of Serie A this weekend.
Well, plenty of reasons. Can Juventus defend their title after losing the likes of Pirlo and Vidal and Tevez? They've added Mandzukic, Dybala, plenty of exciting players, Rugani at the back. There's going to be a challenge, obviously, from the rest of the field. Roma adding Dzeko up front to what is possibly, if Strootman's healthy, arguably one of the very best midfields in the world. Milan spending big, Luis Adriano and Carlos Bacca, as well as the youngster Romagnoli at the back. Inter, Jeffrey Kondogbia now on board as well. Napoli have added Sarri, one of the more interesting up-and-coming managers out there. So, you know, there is the potential for as many as half a dozen teams to contest the title.
You excited?
Looking forward to see how the Inter Milan and AC get on, because, you know, Mihailovic, new coach in there, wears his heart on his sleeve. Gab mentioned the players coming in at Inter, Mancini back in charge. They've really fallen off the rails. I think they're still a long way away from challenging Juve at the top, but let's hope we see them getting better and at least pushing that top four.
This could have been really a lot shorter than we're making it. Can Juventus retain the title? Yes. Okay, what's next?
I don't think I asked that.
No, Gab. That was Gab's first question to himself. Can Juventus retain it? I'm giving you the answer, Gab.
Gab, what would
yes.
that answer be to that question? Are Juventus going to win it again?
I don't think so. I think it's very difficult after you've had a season, so much has been taken out of you. I think they'll be better in the long run, but guys like Dybala will, I think, take some time to bed in. Morata's still developing, but there's so many interesting new faces coming into Serie A this season from all around Europe. I think the talent level's gone up.
Who's winning it then, Gab?
Gab, you're right.
Who's winning it?
I'm going to cautiously say Roma, but you know what? The transfer window's still open. You need to ask me again September 1st.
Gab, you know what? Actually,
no conditional.
You may be right. You know, it's difficult to defend your fifth time in a row. That's not easy, you're right.
When you lose three important players...
I'm going for Juventus.
Juventus?
Yeah.
La vecchia signora, Juventus.
Juventus?
Yeah. Let's get into you.
It's difficult. 5 times in a row, it's difficult.
Preset price at which he could leave. It's a result of a gentleman's agreement with the club when he extended his contract last time, and United were ready to meet it. It was £22 million, around about $29 million. Ed Woodward, the United's chief executive, was in Barcelona on Monday, ostensibly to tie up the deal, and then something happened. What we do know is United backed out, Chelsea stepped in, and as of right now, even though the deal's not done, he's on his way to Chelsea. The big question is, why did United buy out? From Barcelona, the suggestion is it's a disagreement over the terms of the payment, but not over the fee itself. From United, it was suggested quite strongly that it was Louis van Gaal who did a 180-degree turn and decided that he no longer wanted Pedro. Now, I should say that this doesn't come directly from Van Gaal. It's something that United as a club have suggested.
What do you make of this, Craig?
Seems there's more, well, first and foremost, it seems there's more Pinocchios at Manchester United at the moment than any other club in Europe, because one's saying one thing, one's saying another. We've got players saying, I wanted to play. We've got a manager saying he's doing this. We've got Ed Woodward in Barcelona.
Well, he was there for the restaurants, the scenery, beautiful time.
It's a lovely town. Anyway, he came back with a bag, but Pedro wasn't in it. I don't care where he goes. I just want to see Pedro playing again. It's a risk for him if he goes to Chelsea because of Willian and Oscar. 2 years ago at Barcelona, he got quite a lot of game time, not so much last year. This guy just needs to get playing again, and my one concern, if it is Chelsea, is that that's the tougher of the two teams to get into.
Does he walk into the starting 11 or not, Ali?
I don't know that he walks into the starting 11, but I think he does have an opportunity to play. I think he fills a role that perhaps Juan Cuadrado was supposed to fill, and he was not able to do so. He hasn't been able to impress, and I think he gives Chelsea a different look down the right-hand side, perhaps somebody with a change of pace, much better in one-on-one situations that, say, a Willian would be. Maybe, just maybe, that allows him to get some continuity at Chelsea. What is true is that he was not going to play at all in Barcelona. He might have had a better chance of playing at Manchester United, but I still think he will get an opportunity at Chelsea.
I don't see it. I don't see how he starts. I mean, if you look at the recent Chelsea history with Mourinho, he buys players. And if they don't quickly prove themselves, he lets them go. You got Shirley, you got De Bruyne, you got Mohamed Salah, all who could have played on that right-hand side. He got rid of them.
Welcome to the show. I'm Dan Thomas, joined today by Stevie Nicol, Ali Moreno, Craig Burley, and of course Gaal Marcotti is here to give us all the latest on this story that's been developing over the last 24 hours. Pedro to Chelsea, Gab. How did that happen?
Yeah, everybody's kind of wondering that because let's backtrack a little. Pedro had not quite a release clause, but he had a